What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? And we are here and we are ready to wrap this thing up, y'all. We have completed 2 parts already of our season predictions for the 2023 NC State football season, and we are finishing it off here with the final 4 games of the season versus Miami at home, at Wake Forest, at Virginia Tech, and then UNC at home. So if you haven't checked out parts 1 and 2 yet, make sure to go and do that first and foremost, where you hear our thoughts of the first day games and our predictions for the first day games, and they come right back here for part 3. With that being said, Greg, you have the honors of leading us off one more time, starting us off with the home game versus Miami.
Yeah, so when I was thinking through this, and I don't like, now that I've listened to this out loud as this is being played into the broadcast, I had us losing to Miami the whole time. I don't know. I don't know if the U is back. We hear that every darn year, just like Carolina gets the hype, and I guess one of these years they have to be back. But I don't know, man. I don't know what University of Miami squad you're going to get.
Yeah.
Tyler Van Dyke had an off year last year. Allegedly, they've gotten bigger and better on their offensive line, so maybe that helps him play better. I honestly don't know what to think of this. I'm still going to go with my original thought because I had a number in my head where we finished this year, and so we have to get some losses on the back end of this. So I'm giving it a loss.
A tough loss.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I think, again, we talked about it earlier. One of these games is going to come down to a field goal, and I'm not sure, if we, have that automatic thing. So we're going to lose a heartbreaker, and I think this is going to be one of those heartbreaker games.
Fair enough. All right, Macon, what you got for us?
Yeah, so for me, I'm trying to look at what's ahead and where they're at. So Miami will have played right before us. So they will have played. I'm going to start 3 weeks ahead of us. They will have played UNC on the road, which is not going to be an easy game for Miami. They're going to have to play Clemson at home, which is not going to be an easy game for Miami. They do get UVA at home. I wonder how they're going to be doing after playing UNC and Clemson. And I think Virginia might be a get-right game. That makes me a little nervous with them coming to play us because I think ESPN's matchup predictor has State has a 55% chance to win the game, which is closer than I'd like for it to be. But right after right after we play Miami, or Miami plays us, they play at Florida State. And that's a big rivalry game for them. And Florida State's supposed to be picked really high. And I think both teams, Florida State was preseason number 2, I think, and Miami's preseason number 5. So I think they're going to be really looking forward to that. I think State could be a trap game for them, so to speak. I think they could be feeling the Carolina Clemson matchups. They have a get-right game against UVA, and maybe they're feeling good, and then they lose to State. I will say there is the Clemson effect when you play Clemson, you usually lose the last game. Now, State has actually done pretty well at that lately, not losing the game after Clemson. But I think State gets the win. Here. I'm not going to take the bait on, hey, Miami's going to come in and sneak up on us and get us. They could. I just don't know what to think, especially with how last year went for Miami. I think Van Dyke, he was AC Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, right? So he's a good player. I just don't really know what to expect of them yet. And I think if my notes were right, Miami has got a brand new OC and DC. That'll be, it'll be later in the season. Maybe they'll have some stuff figured out. But I'm going to go State with a win here. I think Cristobal's still building Miami back up. Even if Miami gets to like 8-4, which I think they can, that's a win in Cristobal's career there at Miami for getting the program built back. So I'm gonna go W.
I love it, Michael. What's your thoughts, man?
I'm gonna go loss here. Like Macon said, we know that game after Clemson is always tough, whether you win or lose. In 2021, after we beat Clemson, I mean we beat Louisiana Tech at home, but that was a fourth quarter
Close.
game. It was closer than I think anybody liked.
Yeah.
And kind of along the lines of my pick for losing to Louisville, it's like you don't know which Miami team you're going to get. Are they going to be? They have enough talent to compete at the top, but does it all come together?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go loss here a week after Clemson. If I'm saying we're beating Clemson, I think this is a prime matchup for a letdown game, especially if Miami
I would agree.
is good.
I agree with that.
Especially if Miami is good this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest difference between Miami last year and the Miami this year is the offensive line. The offensive line is going to be absolutely stacked.
Yeah, it is.
Just to kind of give a little bit of a summary here. So in this draft class that is now going to be a true freshman at Miami, they had 2 5-star offensive tackles and Francis Magua and Samson Akunlola. I could get some crazy names.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, right. So 2 5-star offensive tackles, and then they also got a transfer offensive guard from Alabama, and they got a first-team All-Conference transfer center from UCF. So I mean, they are going to have a stacked offensive line. Tyler Van Dyke is a guy who started for a few years now at Miami. And then they also have a star running back coming into the fold as well, and Mark Fletcher, that I think Miami is really excited about, looking to step forward. So I think for offense, it's a complete rebuild, but there's a lot of pieces there. And I think an offensive line that's as strong as that can take you a long way.
Yeah.
And then on the defensive side, I think it's a team that, once again, just like the offense, has a lot of transfers into it. And so I think it really just comes down to how much do I believe that Miami is going to take that step forward this year. And I have a hard time saying it's not going to happen. It's at least to the point where they find a win against us. So I have us losing this game. But I think it's going to be, I think it's an odd game, just because like when you look at the paper and like the talent, just raw talent, like it makes sense why there's a loss. But I'm sitting here saying, is it kind of a little bit of a combination of Louisville and like a Clemson, where it's like really star-studded but a lot of transfers? So it's like it could go one way or another.
It's a home game too, so like, that should be our favorite too.
Clemson.
Yeah.
But after Clemson, which is not our favorite.
Yep.
So it's tough. It's really a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we kind of summarized that up there, but we got funny enough how Macon is going second, and the second game is going to be at Virginia Tech, his whole stomping ground. So it kind of worked out any better in that favor. So Macon, give us your thoughts on NC State going to Virginia Tech.
Don't we have Wake before Virginia Tech?
I was about to say, don't we have Wake Forest?
Oh, we have Wake first? Oh, sorry about that. Man, yeah. I mean, I really wanted it to be lined up that way. Dang it. Okay, fine.
It was too good to be true.
I know, right? I was excited.
Well, we can still come back and give him the first one on Virginia Tech.
Okay, we'll do that.
That's so nice of you guys. That's so nice.
Hey, it's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, everybody talks about State going to Wake Forest. They lose. And, I believe when we see it, I think State wins this year. I don't think that happens again for State this year. I think Wake Forest just had a season-ending injury for their best receiver, Donovan Green, and he's out there. Everybody on their starting offense is returning. Their quarterback is Griffiths, and I don't remember him playing a ton last year. I mean, because Sam Hartman played a good bit, but he's a sophomore quarterback. I don't know. They could be outsmarting us at different things they could do. I think it's a win personally. I just don't think it's going to be that I'll say close to a game. I want to give 2 scores. I want to say that.
Wow. Okay. I like it. Michael, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to win here too. they returned some pieces, but they lost some pieces on the offensive line. Now Donovan Green's out, so he's probably going to be their number one receiver. Mitch Griffiths, I think he'll be fine. I think that offense is set up to really benefit the QB. Yeah, I think this is a win.
Yeah. I think for me, I think Mitch Griffiths, deserves more credit than maybe we're saying. He was a guy that was a, Virginia high school, all, star in high school. I know he's a sophomore, so he's young, and obviously not a lot of experience, as obviously he's been behind Sam Hartman for the last year. So I think it really just comes down to how much can he step up. I know that, like you were saying earlier, they lost their star receiver Donovan Green for the year, but Jamal Banks and Taylor Morin, are no.
Yeah.
Marin's been around for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's a junior. They're both juniors. Jamal Banks and Morin are
juniors. I don't
juniors.
remember Banks. I do remember Marin.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then their running back Justice Ellison. So I think their offense is going to be solid. I don't think it'll be to the level of A.T. Perry and Sam Hartman, but I think it's going to be a team that can put 24, 28 points on the board. On the defensive side, it's a guy. They brought in a transfer linebacker they're really excited about from North Carolina A&T, which is no slouch of a football program. For me, y'all, this is the game where I feel like that Dorn at this point should have a chip on his shoulder when it comes to playing at Wake Forest.
Absolutely.
Just like all the state fans have in terms of that chip. At this point is where we should start to see that chip on our shoulder, being like, there is no chance in God's green earth that we are going to lose at Wake Forest as long as I can help it. So I think this is a one where I could have us going 8-4, and yes, spoiler, I have us going 8-4 and losing this game.
Yeah.
But I think also too that it would line up nicely as if I know it's kind of like you want to win both, but I feel like that if we really do want to beat UNC, because I'd rather beat UNC than Wake Forest, I'm okay losing this game if it means that it helps us beat UNC, but obviously I'd rather beat Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, and UNC. But you guys get what I'm saying. I think if it ended up that we did slip up on this game, then we're not slipping up the rest of the season. We ain't slipping up at Virginia Tech. We ain't slipping up against UNC. You know what I'm saying? So my thoughts there. Greg, wrap us up here, man.
Yeah, I have us on a 3-game losing streak. I have us losing this game. I have us losing this game.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
You're saying we go 7-0 and then go 0-3 in our next 3 games? Man, that would be awful.
Well, because for me, it's the typical NC State way how seasons work out. And again, this is
not typically under Dorn though. But
we've had a couple 3-game losing streaks under Dorn.
But during the earlier years,
But you're right. As of late, the trend hasn't really been that. But for me, Winston-Salem's just been a house of horrors for NC State. Especially under Dorn. You figure the law of averages says we have to win one of these, and I think we 1,000% can go in there and win this game. I just don't know if we break that curse. And so for me, until we break it, I'm going to say no. We lose this game, and as much as it pains me to say,
one too many times.
I have,
Been burned one too many times.
I have. And we joke,
go there again.
Well, we joke about it. Like Maryland used to be our nemesis, and now it just feels like Winston-Salem has kind of taken over that little brother syndrome that Maryland kind of left the void for. So yeah, 3-game losing streak. But spoiler alert, I don't have us losing another one. So
yeah, all right, I like it. So now let's move on to our other guy, and Virginia Tech here. And Macon, since we said we were going to go first, I'll let you go first here once again. So give us your thoughts on Virginia Tech and second-year head coach from VT,
Brent Pry.
Brent Pry. Yep, give it to us.
Yeah, I think State's going to win this game. I think Virginia Tech's going to be bad. I'm gonna be curious to see who the surprise in the ACC is this year. Just as a random thought, because I was thinking maybe somehow they could surprise. Hey, it might be Wake Forest, but I think K State's gonna go in there and win. I think they're gonna. If State didn't lost last time we played at Virginia Tech, I was at that game. It was 2015, and it was raining. It was kind of messy. I just think State goes in there and wins this game. Hey, Brennan, he did. I mean, he was at Virginia, so he. I mean, I don't know how much it'll be at Virginia Tech thing. I don't think that actually will even be there personally, but.
But to your point,
Yeah,
it's
I
kind of
think
like this. It's kind of like the Sam Hartman effect, right? Yeah, having played it there before, like when he comes for Notre Dame, Brennan will have played in Lane Stadium, so I don't think that will affect him.
Well, that's what also comes into my thing too. I mean, Wake Forest is going to. I'm talking about Wake Forest. They're going to get up for that game. I think. Brennan Armstrong coming in as a QB has. I don't know how many times he's played at Wake Forest, but I don't think he has a mentality of like, oh crap, we could screw up. And I think with Virginia,
No, I was talking
he's
about Virginia Tech. I was talking about having
right,
played in Lane Stadium.
I was going to say I was kind of translating the logic there. I think he's going to go in here and being like, yeah, we got this. Like I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And so I think State gets the win against the Hokies.
Yeah. Michael, you're up next. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Virginia Tech could be a little bit better than most people predict. So I've got.
If you even think about picking them beating us, Michael, I'm gonna come across that screen and hit you.
It's at Virginia Tech.
He's going to pick it. He's going to totally.
I'm gonna pick a loss here. I'm gonna pick a loss.
Gosh.
Wow.
Jeez.
That would be brutal.
Man, the guy that had us beating Clemson and beating Notre Dame has us losing to Virginia
I
Tech.
was about to say, Michael, you have a crazy prediction.
No,
going
but
on
Michael knows what State does. They win the really hard ones and they lose the head scratchers. Yeah. He gets it. He gets it.
That bad. That's really bad.
Boston College last year.
Really, really bad.
Boston College last year.
I didn't predict that.
But that's really one really bad loss.
Yeah.
In retrospect over the years,
didn't we go down for our second or who was our quarterback that game? Was it MJ the whole time?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It was MJ the whole time.
It
was pretty much MJ the whole time.
Injured MJ.
No, I'm taking a loss because I think Virginia Tech is going to be better at the end of the year than most people think. I could see a world where Virginia Tech sneaks out an 8-4 season this year.
Woo! Hot takes from Michael.
8-4.
I could see 6-6. I don't know about 8-4.
Woo.
If we get to the end of the season and Virginia Tech is like 3-6 or whatever, and they haven't won an ACC game,
I gotta break this down real quick.
I'm not gonna predict we lose that, but I'm basing my prediction based on I think Virginia Tech is going to be good this year.
I will say Virginia Tech. Look at their schedule as a relatively. I don't know how. Let's start with this. So let's go through real quick. Old Dominion at home.
They lost last year.
Right?
Year.
That's a toss-up.
But they win.
All right.
I think they
Purdue
win
at home.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think Purdue's going to be good.
I don't know. I don't think Purdue's going to be good. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Rutgers on the road. So I don't know.
Rutgers is a little bit better.
Yeah. Marshall at Marshall. I think it's a loss for Virginia Tech. Pittsburgh and Blacksburg. Pittsburgh's not going to be bad. They've got Florida State in Tallahassee.
Loss.
Right. Wake Forest and Blacksburg.
Manageable.
Don't know. Man, yeah.
Close.
Syracuse in Blacksburg. Okay. Virginia Tech on the road to Louisville.
Loss.
Okay.
Loss.
Virginia Tech on the road, Boston College.
Pick them.
They need to win that game.
Yeah.
But
okay. NC State.
Loss.
And
dang
Virginia.
you, Michael.
Virginia.
Dang you, Michael.
Win.
So if you're just looking purely off schedule, there's like 4 games on Virginia Tech's schedule that's like maybe 5. That could be like, man, I could go either way. Syracuse,
BC.
Virginia, Boston College,
All right.
Who we say Old Dominion,
Marshall.
Rutgers. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Marshall.
if I'm Virginia Tech, I'm saying this game's a loss, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a
sure.
loss in Virginia Tech, guys. That's why I think it too. I think look at the other games. I don't know if they're there yet. Now, maybe they get the confidence up and maybe they get up for that game. I don't know if it's their homecoming game or not. I don't know.
Probably.
But
Last
actually, I know it is.
last
I know
game
it
of the
is.
season.
Well,
It is their
senior day.
homecoming game. Yeah, senior day, whatever it is. But I think it's homecoming as well. I'm gonna check that. But yeah, you can call it pick it a win if you pick it a loss you want to, Michael.
So for me, I think there's a couple things. First and foremost, they're going into the season with a quarterback duel, even though it shouldn't really even be a quarterback duel because it's a senior quarterback in Grant
It's
Wells
Grant
versus
Wells again, yeah.
a sophomore quarterback in Kyron Drones. So I mean, it should be Grant Wells, to lose, but I mean they're going into it with a battle. And then they also lost their best offensive player in their wide receiver Caleb Smith, who went to Notre Dame. And then defense wise, they didn't really add a whole lot. I mean, the the wide receiver core should be a little bit better as they added some transfers from Old Dominion, funny enough, Middle Tennessee and Norfolk State. Like basically their lead guys they brought over to Virginia Tech. So I mean, that's something, but it's not, knock the doors down transfers, if that makes sense. So
Right.
I don't know. I think they'll be I think they'll be solid. I mean, I think they'll be 6-6. I think they'll squeak out a couple. But I also think as well that they're coming off 2 road games, which in my opinion will be close, but I don't think they'll pull it out. I think that they lose to Louisville and Boston College, but very close. And so I think you go into NC State, you're frustrated, you're pissed off, and NC State, you lose to NC State, but then you rally up and you go to Virginia and you beat Virginia. I think to me that makes sense for Virginia Tech. I think that makes sense for where they are as a program, and I think that's where it makes sense for where they are as a team. So, Greg, finish us out here, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, we get the win. We get off that 3-game losing streak that I predicted that I hope doesn't happen. But I think this could be a game where weather could be kind of iffy. You're talking November in the mountains. It could be kind of cold. Maybe even
It'll
a
be
little,
cold.
yeah, maybe a little snow flurries. So we'll see how that plays out. I just think we have too much. We're a better team on paper, and I think that'll translate on the field. Virginia Tech's building something, but they're a year or two in this rebuild, and they didn't have anything in the cupboard when Pry came on board. So it's going to take them a couple more years to really get it going.
It is senior day. It's not homecoming. I just checked.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, though, Virginia Tech, their fan base is very rabid, much like State.
Passionate.
So, even if they're not having a great year, they're still going to show up at least for the first half.
Yeah, it's going to be
it's going to be a tough environment. Yeah, it's still a tough environment to go play in.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. All right, so let's move on to the main event, y'all. UNC coming to town. Drake May coming to town, and in the season finale, senior day, and for me, I get the lucky honor to start it off. So, I mean, I think it's to me, this is a game that's almost impossible to predict right now. It really is impossible to predict right now because there's so many questions, there's so many things that are going to change by the time this game is played. I think you're going to learn a lot. I think for UNC you're going to learn like their litmus test is game 1 versus South Carolina. Like you're going to learn a lot about UNC that very first game. And for me, I know that the biggest thing for the biggest story right now for UNC is their transfer wide receiver from Kent State not getting the waiver, which definitely hurts. But for me, I'm sitting here saying, Drake May. Offensively, Drake May is going to be Drake May. Even if you have even if you have me, Macon, and Michael playing wide receiver with Drake May,
I'm gonna play wide receiver?
We're not gonna beat any. All right, you can play. You can play tight
That's
end.
because I'm
Greg.
fat. I mean, is that what we're going with?
No. It's just the gray hairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
gray
just,
hairs. We'll go with that. All right.
You
Got a bum wheel. All right.
No, but I'm saying like with the quarterback as talented as Drake May, he's gonna make okay wide receivers look really good.
Yeah.
And I think with the running back and Elijah Green, who I think they're hoping that will take a step forward. And Caleb Hood, same thing. British Brooks, who missed last year with the leg injury. I think offensively they're going to be solid, but the biggest question obviously is defense. And to me, I think that they're saying, oh, like the defense saying, oh, we're here to prove this year that we can be a great defense. But for me, I'm just sitting here looking at what they added, saying, I don't know. I don't see them taking that huge next step. And I'm saying, if the defensive coordinator, I can't even think of his name, Chizik, Gene Chizik, couldn't take a step forward last year. Like, what's going to really change this year? I mean, I don't know. So to me, I have this as a win. I think that, I mean, we know how Dorn looks at UNC. We know, going into this game, what this is going to mean. I think that if we can say we send Drake May to the NFL undefeated against him, that's pretty nice. So, Greg, what's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, you hit it. For us, it's offense versus defense. I think that's going to be like the key. The one part of Carolina's defense that's really good is their linebacker core with Cedric Gray and Power Eccles. That's going to be, that'll be the the matchup, how we fare against those two. Half their defense, other than those two, transferred out, so they're going to be building a whole new defense this year. I will never ever in any of these predictions ever pick against Carolina. I just can't do it. You could put a gun to my head and I would be like, well, my final words are go State. Yeah. It is never going to happen. So State all the way, but it's at Carter Finley. It'll be on Saturday this year. It's not the day after Thanksgiving like it traditionally is. So a little bit of difference there.
That. Okay.
Yeah. So I State.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win, Greg?
I'm gonna go with State.
State.
Yeah.
All right, Macon, what you got, man?
So, I kind of like to see what's again. I've mentioned this a few times. Who are they setting up before they play us?
It's a no-name team.
Carolina plays Clemson the weekend before they play us.
Yeah.
And then they play Duke.
And
week
normally
before
they
Clemson.
do a cupcake.
Cream puff.
Like they had Western Carolina, like they had a year or two ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, number 4 Mac Brown.
Yeah, he cried about that. Yeah, he cried about this. Yeah.
And the week before they play Clemson, they play Duke.
Yeah.
So
that's a tough 3-game stretch to end.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, they play Campbell before they play Duke, but that's so funny to me that teams do that. They have a pretty soft schedule the end of October, and then they get into November, and it's tough for them. Kind of like, well, I don't know, kind of with last year, because last year they had Georgia Tech and they should have won that game. But I think them playing Duke, Clemson, and then us going on the road to playing us, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me check this. Yeah, they go on the road and play at Clemson.
Yeah.
And they go on the road and play at NC State in Raleigh. So for me, I'm going to go – I think we win this game. I think we've seen what Drake May has got, and we beat him with a fourth-string quarterback last year. I mean –
on the road.
Their defense – I never understood the Chizik rehire. Like, he didn't do it last time. Why do you think he's going to just let's go try it.
Carolina likes those retreads.
Yeah.
Right. You get what I'm saying? I didn't get that. Don't think they win this game. I think State gets the win. And partly because I think it's just going to be, I think Carolina's going to be kind of beat down. State will have to play just like Virginia Tech. And I'm not saying State's going to get a cupcake either, but I don't think Virginia Tech's a cupcake. But they were picked to finish like second to last, third to last in the ACC. And then Carolina's going to be playing the number 1 team in the ACC beforehand. I mean, I think State's going to win. You're right. The linebackers are the strength. I really want to say though, if Walker somehow is able to get approved, I don't think he should. Or
better
is
not.
it going to? McCollum is going to be a really good receiver for Carolina. Who's the guy State really wanted in the transfer portal, to be frank. And yeah, I mean their running backs are still really good too. They've got Elijah Green, Amari Hampton, British Brooks, George Pettaway. So they've got a lot of running back options there. But I like how bad their defense is. I like how it's probably a good way to put that. I like strength on strength, their offense against our defense, and I like that Carolina has to play Clemson and Duke the 2 weekends where they play us. So I'm going to say State wins this game at home.
And the last thing I want to add, Michael, before I hand it over to you, is that to keep in mind that UNC takes their bye week on September 30th. We take our bye week on October 21st.
Yeah.
So they will literally have played 8 games
8 weeks straight,
in a row. The last 2 games before us being at Duke and at Clemson. So they're going to be like just grinding by that point. So that's another thing as well. Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I think this just sets up perfectly for us. You know, no matter how it sets up, I'm like Greg. I'm probably going to pick State every time. But actually, I think in 2021, I think I did take UNC the first year I was on here. But last year, I know I definitely picked them, and yeah, this year, I mean, like, yeah, I think it sets up perfectly just the way the schedule, like you said, they've got 8 weeks straight coming off Duke and Clemson. You know, I really don't see how they improve their defense at all this year. Their entire secondary is different, but I don't know if it's better. Because they had plenty of talent in their secondary last year. But yeah, I'm going
on paper.
Yeah. I'm going a W to end it.
All righty, y'all. So that finishes it up here for our season predictions, y'all. So just to recap it once again. So I have us at a really slow, a really hesitant 8-4, but definitely easily could predict 9-3 based off that Wake Forest game, losing to Wake Forest, Miami, Clemson, Notre Dame. Greg, you have us. What was it? 9-3 with losses to
3 in a row
to Miami.
Clemson, Miami, Wake Forest.
Clemson, Miami, Wake Forest. Making, what do you got again?
I think I was 10-2, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking like that Miami game is going to be interesting.
So Clemson, Notre Dame, and Miami 9-3. Or
yeah, but for what we did through the episode, I think actually I'm 10-2. So I mean I'm banking on Armstrong and offense clicking.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, and then Michael, what do you have?
I had us at 9-3. Losses to Louisville, Miami, and Virginia Tech.
That's right. the 3 weirdest losses. I love it.
So random.
Losing to Marshall, Virginia Tech, and
I told you I called an audible
VMI
coming into this. It was definitely different, but I don't know.
Yeah. Did you have like a randomizer?
Shaky my Miami pick though.
I feel like you just had a randomizer and you just give me 3 losses and that's what you did. The most 3 random ones. Yeah, it's fair.
All right, y'all. Well, so thank you all so much again for tuning in here with us. We are very, very excited for this season. We think it's going to be a great season for NC State. Excited to see what kind of noise we can make, and we get that started off here once again August 31st at UConn. So make sure again to tune in for that, and if you can make it up to UConn with Greg and I, please do so. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. And again, for us, if you don't mind, and if you love NC State content, hit that free subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we release any new NC State content, and make sure to comment as well, y'all. Comment your predictions, comment your thoughts. We'd love to know what your predictions are for this season.
Tell
as
us
well.
why Michael picking Virginia Tech is silly.
Silly.
Or any of our picks.
Any of our picks, yeah, exactly.
But also going 10-2 is silly. Hold on.
Right. But also, if you're excited for NC State football, hit that big thumbs up button. Really appreciate it. And also, make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We will see you all soon. And go Pack, y'all.